If you're an ardent listener to the Afterglow Echoplex podcast, or in a band and thought to yourself, hey, I'd like to contribute a song to the proceedings, then you, my friend, are in luck. Because we both want to hear and feature your music on the podcast. If your band produces music akin to shoegaze, dream pop, noise rock, post-punk, haze wave, dark wave, vaporwave, indie hip-hop, which, to be honest, is sorely lacking from this podcast, or sounds adjacent, by all means, please send your music for consideration on the show. Email afterglowechoplex@gmail.com for more information and details. You make sounds. We want to highlight those sounds. It doesn't get any simpler than that. Hope to hear from you soon.
One full hour of stereophonic music in a single tape.
Coming to you live after the fact, it's Afterglow Echoplex, an indie rock mixtape podcast. On this episode, we have music from Dollop, Bygone Summers, Assistant, Gregory Jones, The Riptide Rats, and more. I'm your host, Anthony King. Welcome back to the podcast and to this month's episode of the show. The concept of this podcast is simple. I've made you, the listening audience, a 60-minute virtual mixtape featuring contemporary underground indie rock bands of the shoegaze and shoegaze-adjacent varieties. But instead of simply posting a playlist on a website whose head honcho heavily invests in military AI drone technology, I reached out to the 16 bands you'll hear here today and asked them each for permission to feature their songs. They graciously did, thus making this mixtape a collaborative effort. So before we get started with today's mixtape, let's have some words, and plenty of them. First on the docket, next month, right here in good old Portland City, USA, we have the return of Dreamgaze, PDX, a shoegaze, dream pop, psych rock, and post-punk music festival, which this year will feature Mo Dottie, Black Knight Crash, Brief Candles, and many, many, many more. But wait, there's even more! Sponsored again by DKFM, this 3-day festival, which takes place on September 25th through the 27th, sees Rose City joining forces with Seattle's Tremolo Festival. Dreamgaze PDX organizer and 10 Million Lights band member Ryan Carroll joins us on today's episode to discuss this year's city bridging event. So stay tuned after today's mixtape to listen to this interview and learn more about this amazing event. So this month, August, marks the 1-year anniversary of this podcast, and I know I'm just as surprised as you are. I didn't think that it would get this far, but here we are. Around this time last year, I was out of work and basically waking up, writing, refining, and sending out resumes to little to no avail, all while trying to keep my anxiety and dwindling bank account at bay. Rinse, repeat, I'm sure you've all been there before, many, many times. I always wanted to start a podcast, and I still, to this day, love making mixtapes. Not playlists, but concerted, purpose-built, locked-in compilations of music. Shoegaze is my favorite subgenre, so I took column A, collided it into column B, baked any and every shoegaze, dream pop, noise rock, jangle pop, dark wave, you name it band I could find online for a song, and voila! Here we are 1 year later. Within the last year, I've had the opportunity to put together episodes of this podcast featuring amazing and talented bands and musicians from all around the world, released an entire episode of B-sides and rarities dedicated to my favorite band of all time, Lilies, and interviewed skateboard videographer Tony Roberts about the potential unearthing of the long-lost demo tapes by the underest of underground bands, that being Vista, California's garage new wavers, The Eclipse. If you've listened to this podcast and even contributed to it over the last year, thank you so much. I love making these mixtapes and putting together this show each month. It's a very low to no budget affair that's also a creative endeavor which allows me to collaborate with some of the most amazing and talented people I've ever met in my life. I'm really looking forward to giving this podcast 2-year anniversary spiel in 2026. I don't know, maybe I'll be more schmaltzy. We'll see. Speaking of podcasts that aren't produced on a broken shoestring budget, one of my favorites is How Did This Get Made? For the uninitiated, hosts Paul Scheer, June-Dan Raphael, Jason Mantzoukas, and sometimes guests discuss and hilariously skewer some of the best worst movies ever made, from Batman and Robin to Madam Web to Battlefield Earth and so on for close to 15 some odd years now. The movies on How Did This Get Made aren't just haphazardly stumbled upon. Nope. These films are expertly handpicked by one of the most talented bad movie picking producers this side of MST3K's Frank Conniff, that being Avril Halley. Halley, who is also the co-host of the hilariously snarky YouTube movie review channel Movie Bitches, along with her co-host and jumbo wineglass aficionado Andrew Galdi, was diagnosed with breast cancer that tragically spread to her brain. Recently, however, the good news, make that the great news actually, is that Avril's most recent MRI shows no further tumors or growths. Andrew reports that Avril is currently recuperating from treatment. About 5 years ago, my mom was diagnosed and treated for breast cancer. Thankfully, it's in remission. The thought of losing my mom, the only parent that I have, was absolutely devastating. I guess it goes without saying, but, fuck you, cancer. Now, I don't know Avril Halley. We've never met. But her choice in bad movies for How Did This Get Made, a podcast that I listen to back-to-back episodes of to maintain my spirits and sanity while dealing with my mom's cancer, got me through one of the most difficult moments in my life. So Avril, if you're listening, thank you so much. Paul Scheer, I think you two have met, has encouraged listeners of the podcast to send you well wishes. The best I can do is dedicate this episode of the podcast to you. Now, I'm not sure if you're a fan of shoegaze and shoegaze-adjacent music, but that's what you're getting. I also hope that you're getting better with each passing day. I would also like to take this opportunity to encourage listeners of this podcast who may also enjoy How Did This Get Made and Movie Bitches to send Avril some well wishes and positive words of encouragement. Please go to, all one word, andrew@moviebitches.xyz to send Avril a note. Or if you want to send a non-perishable, scent-free gift, that is a non-smelly gift, you can forward it to Avril Halley, P.O. Box 641, Agora Hills, California, 91376. But please, whatever you do not send her a super amateurishly produced podcast episode. As you can hear, I've already got that covered. Alright, now on with the show. This podcast, as I'm sure you've well figured out, is a very small one-person operation. It's all like lo-fi production levels and stuff. No budget, broke-ass city over here. But it's also a labor of love, and I'm lucky enough to collaborate with and share music from some of the absolute best, most wonderful, and thoughtful independent underground bands and musicians the world over. Still, though, my insecure ass can't help but wonder, who is this scrappy little operation getting into the ears of? Who's out there? Hello? And, as if to give voice to the restless gremlin shoveling seeds of doubt into the furnace of the runaway train I call my brain, this is Awkward Bodies with the song, Are You Listening? You are listening. You are listening, right? To the Afterglow Echoplex podcast.
the blues away.
My Vinyl Underground isn't just one of Portland's best independent record shops, and that's saying a lot for this town, but it's literally underground. Located in the basement of the comic book shop, Books with Pictures, My Vinyl Underground specializes in new and used independent records, tapes, and CDs. From indie subgenres that run the gamut from twee to power pop to jangle pop to post-rock to post-punk to lo-fi bedroom rock and all points in between. My Vinyl Underground is located at 1401 Southeast Division Street. You can also find them online at jigsaw-records.com or by calling 503-928-4695. They're open Wednesday through Saturday, 12 to 6 p.m. My Vinyl Underground, a wealth of great independent music right under your feet. Alright, welcome back to the show. You just heard the song Blues by Kent, Wilshire, Dorset, and Suffolk, England's The Shop Window from their 2024 Daydream album on Jangle Shop Records. The Shop Window's Carl Mann notes that at this moment he's focusing on finishing his other band, Shapes Like People's second album for release next year. After that, he will, fingers crossed, get back to another Shop Window album. Prior to that, we had the song Burn Your Body by Miami, Florida's Bygone Summers from the 2024 self-released Ghost Light album. And then preceding that was Love's a Waltz by Rhode Island's Court Lee from the 2024 self-released Heartbreaker EP. And then prior to that, we had the song Action Jackson by Kungsbacka, Sweden's Riptide Rats from their 2024 Action Jackson self-released digital single titled The Shed Sessions Series 1. This song will also be featured on the band's upcoming album on Ghost Highway Recordings / Green Cookie Records. Bonus points to you, dear listener, if you can name the Paul Verhoeven-directed film the opening sample of this song is from. Actually, let's make it interesting. The first person to email with the correct answer wins a sticker-sealed and absolutely pristine, never-played copy of the 500 Shake Baby Shake 7-inch single from Lush circa 1996 on 4AD Records. This 45 RPM single is pressed on red vinyl and features the B-side, I Have the Moon. Email afterglow.echoplex@gmail.com with the subject line, "Give me that record! I know that sample!" Again, first correct email nabs this rare out-of-print prize. Then prior to that, we had Veal zu Veal by Berlin, Germany's Limmer from the 2025 album Bodenhex on Blackjack Illuminous Records. Limmer's Alexander Donat says that he will have a new album out this autumn. And then prior to that, we had the song Feral Dogs by Rimini, Italy's Slow Rider from their 2024 self-released It's Okay to Be a Slow Rider EP. Slow Riders Rochella Cinarelli notes that the band, which also includes Christian Santarelli on electric guitars, have a new record coming out this September. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Before that, we heard the song A Dog Indoors by Liverpool, England's Dollop from the band's self-released 2025 debut, A Dog Indoors single. And then opening up this side of the mixtape, we had the song Are You Listening by Minneapolis, Minnesota's Awkward Bodies from the 2014 sophomore album Get Left on MECC Recordings. The 10th anniversary edition released last year was released on the recently resurrected Nuclear Gopher Records. Awkward Bodies have been working on a follow-up third album since late 2019, but the COVID-19 pandemic put a pause on that album sessions entirely. The band resumed recording in late 2022 and have been slowly chipping away at this new record, in light of the 4 members of the group currently being occupied with other projects. Awkward Bodies' Jesse Miller says that about 95% of the record is finished and will hopefully be released this fall or winter. Man, there are a lot of good records coming out. Alright, bank account, take that. Up next on the second side of today's mixtape is a fella who is not only sartorially astute, but is a singer-songwriter who expertly crafts harmony-laden melodic chamber pop that generously overflows with autumnal folk rock and Americana whimsy. This is Gregory Jones with the song My Kind of Girl. You are listening to the Afterglow Echoplex podcast.
There's a cold wind blowing here. It's rattling the trees. The tide is high and the birds afloat. We should be on our knees. So if you turned and said to me, where shall we run to? I'd just smile girl. Oh yes, you're my whole world. 'Cause you're my kind of girl. Oh yes, 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 you're
Athens is love, Athens is life. In Athens at night, the stars align. The sun goes down in town. The gods send a clear sign. Moonlight over Athens. Time for a romance divine. Battles pop. Our hearts pop to the sound of the sparkling wine. The bubbles never lie. There are forces we can't deny. The music plays for us. Take my hand. Let's dance. I go bubbles when the stars shine bright. Hold me, kiss me, touch me, feel me, baby, love me right. Tonight, let's go bubbles. I go bubbles when the stars shine bright. Sagabo in this Athens champagne night. You whisper I love you. Eros shut his arrow at us. Moonlight over Athens. It's a spell right on our hearts. I can't believe it's real. Is this magic? Love at first glance. To the sound of a sparkling wine. The bubbles never lie. There are forces we can't deny. The music plays for us. Take my hand. Let's dance. I go bubbles when the stars shine bright.
Do you love vintage toys from the 80s, 70s, 60s, and beyond? If so, I can't recommend Billy Galaxy's namesake vintage toy shop enough. One of the last bastions of old Portland, Billy Galaxy carries vintage Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask, hard-to-find Japanese toys, and so much more. Remember muscle figures? Billy's got them. Looking for a vintage lunchbox? Which one? Comics? Oh, you betcha. They have comics. Billy Galaxy is located at 812 West Burnside Street, here in Portland, Oregon, near Powell's City of Books, and is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Give them a call at 503-227-8253 or visit online at billygalaxy.com. Billy Galaxy, the toys from your past are here waiting for you. All right, welcome back to the show. You just heard the song Trying to Tell You by the south side of Glasgow, Scotland's The Fever Van from their 2025 self-released The Fever Van EP. According to The Fever Van's Les Willocks, this song is about searching for something but not quite getting there. Besides making music under the Fever Van moniker, Les has a baker's dozen worth of instrumental recordings under his own name on BandCamp that you should definitely check out. That's LESWILLOX. Please see the show notes for links to Les's page. Prior to that, we heard the song Cunt. Note, it's the Roman spelling, CVNT by the by, from right here in Portland, Oregon's Maddie Gaines from the forthcoming as of this fall's self-released 2025 Trinkets EP. Maddie just released a second single off this EP titled Cheryl's on 12th last June. It's a gay folk pop ballad that tells the story of two girls falling in love over brunch. Now, if you've been to Cheryl's here in Portland, Oregon, then you know it's a lovely, albeit busy spot to eat at and fall in love in. I don't know. Love's in the air. It must be the smell of pancakes. Ah, man. I want pancakes. Anyway, Maddie and her band plan to release another single at the end of this summer, followed by a music video. Their next show will be a house show here in Southeast Portland on August 23rd, and the best way to hear about Maddie's music and show is via her Instagram profile, at Maddie Gaines. That's all one word with two I's, so that's at MADIIGAINES. And then before that, we heard the song January 1st by Nashville, Tennessee's Bad Island Easter from the band's 2024 self-titled self-released EP. Bad Island Easter will be playing at the Basement in Nashville the day this episode airs. That's August 1st, by the way. So if you're in Music City, get thee there toot sweet. And as always, if you go, tell the band I sent you. Bad Island Easter hopes to release a new EP this fall or the winter of this year. I hope they do too. And then prior to that, we had the song Order of Melchizedek by Edmonton, Alberta, Canada's Sunset Cassette 87 from the very recently released 2025 debut album Waves on Dimethyl Records. The neo-noir feels on this song simply cannot be denied. This song instantly reminds me of Argentinian poet Antonio Porcha's observation that night is a world lit by itself. If only this little dystopia of ours was all set-dressed in Michael Mann-style neon lights and constantly damp streets, then I think Sunset Cassette 87 would definitely have the soundtrack covered. And then prior to that, we have the song I Go Bubbles, Anthem Champagne Night by Basque Country Spain's Nahia Dance from the 2024 I Go Bubbles Athens Champagne Night single on the German record label ZYX Music. As an unabashed fan of bouncy club pop a la Erasure, the Pet Shop Boys, and OMD, I love how effortlessly fun this song is. I just can't get enough of it. Now, I've never owned a sleeveless neon mesh top, but this song makes me think this is the only suitable attire to dance along to this song in. I definitely have some shopping to do. Prior to that, we had the song Hours in the Night by Sydney, Australia's Subspace Sub from the 2025 self-released Expeditions EP. This EP was preceded by 2024's Excursions EP and will be followed up with a new EP coming out this November. See, I'm telling you, so much great music is just coming out. You're going to be overwhelmed by the embarrassment of riches that you have coming your way. Speaking of Overwhelming by Brighton and Hove UK's Assistant from the 2025 album Certain Memories on Subjangle Records. Assistant's Bandcamp page describes this album as, quote, a bright, tuneful, heartfelt album about the turbulence and the tranquility of life. Now, giving these 12 songs a couple of spins, I'd say that Certain Memories is one of those right place, right time kind of albums. In a world this topsy-turvy, you gotta find the balance, folks. And then opening the second side of today's mixtape was My Kinda Girl by Oxford, UK's Gregory Jones from the 2023 debut album, Nowhere I'd Rather Be, on Other Eye Records. Jones is currently writing and recording his second album, which will feature a new single at the end of this summer. He'll also be playing in Piacenza, Italy this September at the Other Eyes Festival for the label's 10th anniversary. So if you're lucky enough to be in Piacenza, Italy in September, go to this show and tell Gregory I sent you. Bands love it when you walk up to them and tell them that I sent you. They really do. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something that happens. All right, now I believe at the top of this episode I promised you a interview, and here it goes. In only its second year in existence, Dreamgaze PDX, Portland's weekend-long shoegaze, dream pop, psych rock, and post-punk festival, has set its ambitious sights on covering two Pacific Northwest cities. Teaming up with Seattle's Tremolo Festival, this 3-day, two-town event, set for September 25th through the 27th, will host an absolutely amazing array of pedal pitching practitioners, which includes the Asteroid No. 4, Mo Dottie, Brief Candles, and so many, many more. I met up with one of Dreamgaze PDX organizers, Ryan Carroll, in the boisterous patio at Tough Luck in the Woodlawn neighborhood here in Portland to learn more about this event. Ryan's band, 10 Million Lights, will also be featured on this 3-day bill. Please enjoy our din-imbued interview.
It might be quieter on the outside.
All right, we'll see. I mean, look at how much spike we've got going on here already.
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
Yeah. That's not too bad, though.
No?
Yeah.
I could listen back to it and see.
Yeah, and actually I kind of like the flaws.
Okay.
Warts and all.
That's right, yeah.
Exactly. So,
adding some character.
Yeah. So who am I sitting here with?
I'm Ryan Carroll, and I am the, I guess, one of the founders of Dreamgaze PDX, along with my bandmate Eric Block. We're in 10 Million Lights together, and our friend's band Kali. They heard about this and decided that they were interested in helping us out, and so Kate from Kali is a big contributor, and David and Brian also help us out, and so the five of us make up the team that's putting on the festival.
When did Dreamgaze PDX begin?
So last year was the first time we had a festival, and so it's just barely a year old, and it was actually a really great success. It was a small venue. We did it at the Fixin' 2, which is super fun because then people got to mingle with the bands. It was a small sort of venue. We only had the ability to sell 120 tickets, but that was awesome for getting to sell it out.
Right.
Unfortunately, the Fixin' 2 just announced that they're not having music there anymore.
What happened?
Well, they're having struggles, I guess, keeping open, and so they're, I guess, throwing a Hail Mary and bringing in a bunch of pinball machines and seeing if they can keep the bar open by shifting their clientele a little bit. So hopefully that works, but...
From music enthusiasts to pinball enthusiasts.
Yes.
Gotcha, okay. What inspired this event?
Well, it was interesting. I had a big landmark birthday a couple years ago, and my wife suggested that I get all my friends' bands together and have a party. And I was like, oh, I love that idea. I just don't feel like I want to do any work for my birthday. I just want to have a party.
Right.
So the next year, I'd been thinking about it, and I was like, I really do want to do that. And so we decided to do it that year. So that was last year.
Okay.
And I think what really, kind of inspired it was the idea of creating community. There's a lot of music in Portland, there's a lot of bands in Portland, but it seems like the scenes are so splintered that with subgenres and, that sort of a thing that you go to any number of shows throughout the week and there's just not a ton of people out there. And so I think part of the idea was, let's create something that's going to bring people together, that's going to bring people from out of town even, that's going to kind of give some exposure to some of the shoegaze bands that we have in Portland.
Right.
Because we do actually have some really good bands here. And so that was kind of the idea. It was like, let's create community, let's do this thing and have it be an annual thing so that it gets on people's radars, so that bands start to think about coming and spending time in the Northwest, because it's really hard for most touring bands to make it all the way out here because the distance is so big, right? It's like 10 hours to San Francisco. So a lot of bands just skip us. But now, hopefully, doing something like this is going to kind of put us on the map a little bit and get bands to come out and do it.
What is the process like putting that first festival together? It's like, which bands did you reach out to? Who took part? And who did you wish could have showed up that maybe didn't?
Well, it was kind of wild last year because I just planned on doing a one-day festival. I'd never put on a festival, and so I didn't really know what I was doing. So I reached out to basically like 10 of my favorite bands, just bands that had been putting out music recently and that I was interested in seeing, expecting that maybe half of them would, or a couple of them would say yes. I really was just like, if I can get a couple headliners, then I can bring in a bunch of other bands locally. Well, everybody said yes, and that was a problem because I couldn't fit them all on a bill. And so I went back to the club and said, hey, is there any way we could get Friday night? And they were like, no, but we have Sunday, which that's not ideal because how many people usually go out to shows on Sundays, right? So,
right.
But at the time, I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't just go back and be like, oh, sorry, you said yes, but now I can't have you. And so I just took a chance and said, you know what, if we do this, people will come. And so we got some really amazing bands. The Velt was, a band that we'd played with the year prior. Beautiful, shoegaze band with soul vocals. Very different, very interesting, right? And so very excited to have them. And got bands from all over. A beautiful band from Mexico City, and
I'm sorry, which band?
Mintfield.
Oh, Mintfield, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was huge.
Yeah.
Getting somebody from out of the country was great. And a band called Citrus Clouds from Phoenix that are really good. A number of bands we got from California. We got a band called Fawning. That's the guys from Whir, except for the main guy. And the singer from Night School. A really cool band. We got Soft Science from Sacramento, which you are friends with, an amazing band. So good live. They were just phenomenal and super cool people too. In fact, we haven't said anything yet, but they remixed one of the songs from our new album that's coming out.
Oh, when's that coming out?
Well, we don't have a date yet for it. It's just about to go to mastering, but this fall. Pretty exciting to work with them. And we had Tears Run Rings, which they're from Portland, but play like once every. I think it's been 7 years since they played. But they're really great people, great band, and so many other bands. It's hard to remember all of them because we had like 15 bands coming in. But Waves Crashing from Olympia, we had the Prids, local band, a newer band called Waking Sophia opened up. They're really great. I know I'm forgetting a lot of them. We had Deadly Echo from New York. So it was really awesome. And I think that must have helped this year because we've got a really great lineup coming in this year. I probably saw some of the bands, but really excited about Pink Breath of Heaven, one of my favorite new bands, very Cocteau Twinsy, very Lush inspired, great. Asteroid Number 4, pretty fun.
Yeah.
Their Psych thing. And another band called Topographies. I don't know if you've heard of them. Called Topographies.
No.
So it's Lowell Tolhurst's son from The Cure.
Okay.
And so they do sound like old Cure mixed in with kind of electronic beats and a little bit more, I'd say. They're definitely goth inspired. Is this gonna work, you think?
I wonder if this is gonna work.
Yeah, let's maybe move to the other side.
We have to try it. We have to start all over again. You want to pause it? Yeah.
Go back again.
Okay. How did the collaboration between Dreamgaze PDX and Seattle's Tremolo Festival happen?
Well, that's kind of a really fun thing. So we played the Tremolo Fest last year, and they got some good bands from around. And we talked about, if there was a way that we could collaborate, we could have the potential to even get bigger bands to come, because then they would have the ability to play multiple cities in the same weekend. Right. And so we thought, that seems like a really good way to maybe get some bigger bands to come and to be able to guarantee them a little bit more, make it worth their while, right? And so worked with them, talked to them about that, and so far so good. They're a great team to work with, and they were able to book about half the bands, and I booked about half the bands, and so I think together, between the two of us, we put together a really cool festival.
So Dreamgaze is relatively new. How long has Tremolo been going?
Tremolo, I think, has gone on for at least 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And, it was always a little bit smaller. It got a little bit bigger over the last few years. And so, yeah, I think with us being able to join forces, we are potentially going to be able to continue growing this. And I don't think we ever want to get to the point where it's so big that you can't interact with the musicians, because that's part of it, I think, is that bands, especially in this scene, they want to talk to the fans and the people that enjoy it, and people want to come up and check out their pedal boards and see what's making the noise and be able to chat with them afterwards about it, and nerd out. Like, that's part of the...
Well, I always say this at the end of the podcast, but that's kind of the thing that I love about this scene, is that it's bands celebrating each other and being able to walk up to one another and be like, what do you got going on over here?
Exactly. So I don't ever want to lose that. I don't want it to be like a huge waterfront thing.
Right.
But it would be cool to be able to continue to grow and bring in acts that might not be able to otherwise come if it wasn't, if we didn't have the numbers to support it.
Right.
So.
Okay, so this event takes place over the course of 3 days, from September 25th to 27th. Can you kind of walk me through how this event will take place? Who's playing this year's festival, and when and where will they be playing?
So this year, because of the unfortunate demise of the Fixin' 2, luckily, the booker, he also books a place called Swan Dive downtown, and he anticipated this might happen. And so he, without telling us, actually just saved those dates for us, which was huge, because he called me just a few weeks ago and was like, good news and bad news. The good news is you're going to have the festival. The bad news is it's not at Fixin' 2. But the Swan Dive is awesome. It's a really great venue. It's got 2 floors. We're going to be able to do some fun stuff on both floors, including some DJs and some video jockeys as well, playing some videos downstairs from some bands from around as well. So it's going to be a really cool place that is going to allow us to do the same thing that we did last year, only it's a little bit bigger, so we won't have to cap it like we did last year. We'll be able to have up to 200 people this year.
Will the shows be taking place in Seattle and Portland simultaneously?
Yes.
Okay,
so
all
at
right.
the Central in Seattle, and this was a little bit of a Tetris game, trying to figure out how to get all the bands to play both cities and make it worth their while as far as their drive goes and all of that. But it was fun. So the bands that are going to be playing, on Friday in Portland are going to be playing on Saturday in Seattle, and vice versa.
I see. Okay.
Yes, so there's a core group of bands that are going to be playing both cities, and then of course some bands from Seattle will just be playing Seattle, and the same with Portland. Some of the Portland bands will just be playing Portland.
Gotcha. Okay, because what I was initially envisioning, and I knew this was wrong from the start, was that bands would be playing in Seattle, and you get in your car in 3 hours, you get to Portland to see the next half, and then drive back again. So yeah, okay, so that makes so much more sense.
So basically, Friday's lineup is going to be in Portland, is going to be the lineup in Seattle on Saturday, and vice versa. So we're kind of swapping, but it's a 3-day swap. So they're also having shows Thursday night as well.
Who's playing this year's festival?
So we have some really good bands playing this year, and I'm really excited because we were able to get our headliner for Thursday night is called Topographies, and Topographies is the son of Lowell Tolhurst from The Cure, his band, and they're very much a kind of early Cure sort of post-punk shoegazy band that I think everyone's going to really love if they haven't heard them already. They're great. And then we got a couple of, the rest of it is a Portland lineup that night. So Kali, our colleagues that are helping put this on, are going to be playing, and I think they're going to be debuting their new album that night. So that's going to be pretty exciting.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then a couple of amazing Portland bands. Any of you that heard Helens, they came out a couple of years ago with an album that was phenomenal. I love those guys. So they're going to be playing, and then I'm really excited about Lazy Legs. I don't know, they haven't played for a few years, and they kind of took a little time between albums, and their new album has come out. It's very different. Their last albums were huge, heavy, dirty records, and this one is very kind of whispery and quiet, and so it's kind of a complete departure, but super exciting to have them come and do that. It's think their first Portland show since they released their record last month.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about that lineup. It's going to be a phenomenal show. And then on Saturday, we have a couple of Portland bands that are going to be warming up the night. There's a band called House of Warmth. They are very heavy, kind of like grunge gaze. So I'm really into heavy music personally. I also love beautiful, pretty music, but I love the combo more than anything. So really excited about them opening up.
I'm sorry, I hope you don't mind, but I'm actually looking at your list upside down here, and this is just, this is like, please say more.
Yeah,
tell us more who has played.
Honestly, I think all 3 nights are so good that people really should go for the 3-day pass and come see all the music, because it is phenomenal. My band, 10 Million Lights, is going to also be part of that warming up the night. And I don't know if you're familiar with a band called Dark Soft, but they are a band who used to be out of Seattle, but now have moved to Portland, Maine. Really beautiful music. I love their poppy sensibilities and their dreamy, keyboardy guitar music that they do.
Right.
They're great. So we got them to come back, fly back over here and play. And the next band I'm so excited about, Mum Runner from Finland. These guys have been one of my favorite bands for probably the last, I think they've been around for like 7 or 8 years. But they remind me of early Catherine Wheel. Beautiful melodies, just this lush, distorted guitar tones, harmonies that to die for. Really love them. So I was really excited that they were coming to the United States for the very first time. And then we were able to help them kind of plan a little West Coast tour so that they could make it worth their while. But phenomenal band, love them. And one of my brand new favorite bands, Pink Breath of Heaven,
Same
from San
here.
Francisco.
Yes, yeah.
Man, their new record is so good. It reminds me of kind of Cocteau Twins and Lush, and just beautiful vocals. A little bit of Mazzy Star in there. So super excited to have them. They and the last band that's headlining, the Asteroid Number 4, are both on Little Cloud Records here in Portland, so excited to kind of bring some of their bands to town and collaborate with them a little bit. But the Asteroid Number 4, loved them for a really long time. Good psych shoegaze stuff. So they'll be closing out the night, and that'll be a phenomenal lineup, I think, for Friday night.
And then let's see, where do we go from here?
Well, we got one more night.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
And that is wild that we're doing 3 nights this year. I don't know. Maybe there's such thing as too much music. I don't think so.
No.
We'll see. But the final night, Saturday night, we kind of saved some huge ones for this one. A new band out of LA called Present is coming, and they're really cool. We're excited to bring them in. They're kind of some dirty sort of kind of a little bit jarring, off-kilter sort of stuff that then breaks into beautiful harmonies and melodies. And one of my favorite old-school Seattle shoegaze bands, Black Knight Crash, is going to play after that. These guys, man, they have some amazing records, just classic sound and beautiful male-female harmonies, vocals. A band called Modati, also from LA. I don't know if people are as familiar with them because they're kind of starting to break out, but a really good band with great songwriting.
Well, they have that great record. Was it last year or the year before? Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So good. Then we have the Upside Down, which is a classic Portland band that hasn't been playing a lot. Jason, their singer, is also in Sun Adams, and so they've been doing a lot of stuff, but they were able to kind of come back and play a show, so we're excited to see them. And then Brief Candles from Minneapolis. These guys are like stalwarts. They've been around for a while. They play that, sonic youthy, distorted, dissonant guitars that like mesh into beautiful harmonies and melodies, and all leading up to Cool Heat from Chicago, which has a great record that they put out just recently, and been really loving listening to their melodies and their keyboard sounds that they do. Really good stuff. So, yeah, that's going to be Dreamgaze this year, and I'm really excited about it.
So with this lineup and these 3 days, when does the show start, and when does it end? Because it seems like there's a lot of bands on the bill.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So what we did last year, and I think we're going to continue this year, is we tried to start pretty early. So we actually had a curfew last year. We had to be done by 11.
Okay.
And we don't have to be done by 11 this year, but we're probably not going to push it past midnight. Honestly, we're probably going to start at like 7 and be done by midnight first few bands are going to play some short sets. Everything's going to be backlined, so it's going to be really quick between bands. And we're going to have some cool DJs. DJ Wednesday is going to be back again this year. And we're sponsored by DKFM this year. So Greg from DKFM is going to come and DJ, as well as some other local DJs that we're excited about to kind of play great shoegaze songs in between acts. So their music won't stop.
Awesome. All right. Where can people learn more about the festival, and how can they purchase tickets?
Okay, well, dreamgazepdx.com. That's the easiest way to go on there, see the lineups, learn more about the different people that are going to participate, the DJs, the lighting. We've got a really cool visual presentation by Coast Range Lights that's going to be playing behind the bands, learning more about them and our different sponsors that we have. And you can just click on the ticket link there and purchase tickets right there through it's through Lonely God.
Is it a different price for each night as opposed to
well, that's a good question.
Tickets for
we wanted to keep
nights?
This as affordable as possible while still making it worth the band's time. This is a huge labor of love. We're not trying to make money off of this. None of the people that are working this are doing this for pay. We're all just volunteering our time to bring beautiful music to town.
You're singing my song.
So, so what we're doing is there will be a slight variation between tickets on Thursday night because there's less bands. So it's basically $5 a band is kind of the way that it averages out to be.
Okay.
So I think it's $25 on Thursday and $30 on Friday and Saturday, with a slight discount if people buy a pass for all 3 days. So really affordable. I mean, honestly, $30 to go see 6 amazing bands is nothing. When nowadays you can go and see 2 bands for $18-20,
right?
You know, on a Thursday night. So we're really excited to keep that low, and you know, I think part of the reason is we want everybody to come. We want to sell it out. We want to be able to pay the bands what they're worth, and have it be basically listener supported rather than, you know, a lot of things that you go to nowadays where you're like, I wonder if the club's taking a huge cut because that's really expensive.
Right.
You know.
And now with Live Nation moving in.
Right. Yeah exactly.
Yeah. So this last question is solely because I love making mixtapes, and I have to ask: have you ever considered putting out a compilation album of live performances or possibly studio recordings of these bands?
That's a great question.
To kind of, you know, I'm hearkening back to Tender Loving Empire's yearly compilation series.
Yes,
and we have as you pointed out, an amazing amount of shoegaze and dream pop bands in this city alone.
Yes.
Have you ever considered putting out a compilation?
So I love that you asked that question, and the answer is you get to the exclusive that we're actually doing that this year. Yeah. So it's going to be all of the bands that are playing, both in Seattle and Portland. It's going to be in CD format because that way we can fit all of them on.
Right.
But even the bands that won't be playing in Portland that are going to be on it as well. And it's going to be kind of a joint Tremolo PDX or Dreamgaze PDX comp that we're going to put out. So we're pretty excited about that.
How many songs are how many bands are on there?
I think there's 18 or 20, something like that. Yeah, it's a lot. So it's pretty cool. I know that we're barely coming in before the 74-minute cutoff on a CD. So
right.
But we're pretty excited about that. And I think, you know, again, all the idea is that we can sell it at the show and the money will go to the bands. So we're not, again, making any money on that. That's something that's just to help the bands out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, super exciting. But I love your idea about doing a compilation of, you know, tons of local bands because there is so much good stuff. So we'll take that idea back and run with it.
Well, I thought about doing a show where it was just local bands too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we should work together.
There's so many good ones.
I think we can pull our resources.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a part of that.
I would love to be a part of that.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. Well, okay. So I'm going to ask my last question. Is there anything you'd like to add or mention that I didn't ask about?
Well, I think really just kind of circling back to the reason we're doing this, you know, it's that whole idea about creating community, creating a safe space for people to come and be able to interact with each other and people that they really love the music that they're playing and be able to totally just nerd out on their gear and you know, just be like like we know, that scene that celebrates itself. You know, that's the whole point of this, is for us to be able to have a place where we can celebrate the fact that this beautiful music is being created and that it's all really good people that are doing it.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't until starting this podcast that I realized how many amazing bands of this genre existed here alone. You know, and so it's like, wow, and that's why I was like surprised to find out about Shoegaze PDX, and I was like, of course somebody thought to do this. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, well that exhausts all my questions.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thank you so much for answering my annoying questions.
You're welcome.
All right, okay, I'm going to press stop on this thing now. Okay, you said there's one more thing you wanted to mention. What was it?
So one thing I forgot about that's really cool is that we last year debuted this, and we're going to do it again this year, where we're both going to have a raffle and a silent auction. So we went around and we asked a bunch of companies, boutique pedal companies, and different record stores and labels if they were willing to give us some things that we could put in the silent auction.
Right.
And this year we're really excited because we have Benson Amps, who has given us some guitar pedals that we're going to be able to do silent auction and a raffle. So that's super exciting. Plus, we're going to have a bunch of vinyl from some different record stores and some different labels, and a number of things that'll be really exciting. And I'll just say, from last year, people were able to get, you know, say $300 or $400 pedals in the silent auction for like $120.
Right.
You know, so way cheaper than cost even. So we were really grateful that they were willing to donate some things again this year, and it's a really exciting thing for the people that come to be able to participate in and walk away with some cool stuff.
That is amazing. Yeah. Okay, so hold on. Now we're here. Anything else you want to mention?
I think that's it.
Okay. All right. All right, get your tickets. I hope to see you there. If you see me, come up and say hi. I really like that. Try and figure out who I am. I'll give you a hint. I'm awkward. So look for the awkward guy. And before we bring this action-packed episode to a close, I'd like to introduce a new segment to the podcast. Recommendation Corner! I know, super original name, right? I toyed with Recommendation Cul-de-sac, but it just doesn't have the same ring to it. Anywho, Jacksonville, Florida's Echo Foxtrot has a brand new EP out titled EP1. Echo Foxtrot appeared on episode 10 of this podcast with a live recording of their song In the Lights. The studio version of this song appears on the band's debut EP, and it lives up to the promise of that live track. Opener for Thee is a slow burner that guides and glides the proceedings. By the end of this EP's final track, Nueva, with its harmoniously swirling guitar, percussion, and vocal cacophony, you'll be queuing up this recording for repeat listenings, I guarantee it. If you're a fan of feedback-drenched, shimmering shoegaze, this EP will definitely not disappoint. Go to echofoxtrotmusic.bandcamp.com/album/EP1 to stream and purchase what is assuredly the beginning of this band's brilliant career. And with that, let's go to the copy. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Afterglow Echoplex podcast. This podcast would not be possible without the contributions of the absolutely wonderful and talented bands featured on today's episode. I highly encourage you to check out each of these bands by going to their website and BandCamp pages. Please see show notes for info and links. Buy an album in the format of your choosing. If any of these bands and musicians are touring and coming to your town, go see them. After the show, walk all the way back to your apartment completely backwards, and make sure to time yourself while doing so. Afterglow Echoplex is produced, compiled, and recorded by me, Anthony King. Today's episode was produced in direct collaboration with the bands featured here. Intro and outro songs by Lilies. Thanks, Kurt. Cover photographs by Blue Calypso Photographs. Afterglow Echoplex is a Rocket Science Alliance production. If you would like to write into the podcast with listener correspondence, please send your letters to afterglowechoplex@gmail.com. If you liked what you heard today, please rate, review, subscribe, and turn on notifications for the show on the podcast catcher of your choice. Or get a jump on the 25th anniversary and watch Corey McAvee's 2001 feature film, The American Astronaut, and enjoy an actual, honest-to-goodness, underrated cinematic gem. The best way I can describe The American Astronaut Imagine the aesthetics of Eraserhead meets the television show Firefly meets Rock and Roll High School, and you're halfway there. I promise you, this is a movie that will delight. You're in for a treat with this movie. If you can find it, watch it. I think it's on Netflix. Go get it. Thanks again for listening to today's show. Coming up on the next episode of the Afterglow Echoplex podcast, we're breaking out our huge plastic storage container of sweaters and scarves in preparation for all that glorious fall weather, while listening to the likes of Cigarettes for Breakfast, Jet Cemetery, Temporary Drag, Snow Cuffs, Chain Lacing, and more. Until next time, keep celebrating the scene.